Do you know how to set goals and actually achieve them? How are you with goal setting? Is it hard? Is it easy? Well, stick around because in this video, I'm going to give you my best goal setting ideas and my best goal setting tips to get you on your way to smarter goal setting. This is a goal setting series, and today we're going to get started with part 1. So let's get to it. So hey there and welcome back. I'm Alicia from Alicia Cohen Designs, where I teach you intentional planning and productivity solutions. If you're new around here, would you please do me a big favor and hit that subscribe button? It means a lot to me, helps support my channel, and it's just really nice to know that I have supporters out there. So please give that subscribe button a tap, and now let's get to our topic. So part 1 of 4 of this series about goal setting. And not just goal setting, but how to set goals and actually achieve them. We want to take a look at setting smarter goals, and I'm not talking about setting smart goals here, though I will talk about smart goals later in this series, but we want to take a look at setting smarter goals to be able to be as effective as possible to get the most mileage out of our effort. I believe that the best way to achieve goals and be smart about this process is through a number of key strategies. I have 8 for you, but that's way too many to cover for this video. So we'll tackle 2 strategies each time. Here's the plan for today's video. We'll talk briefly about why set goals. Then we'll go over the basic types of goal setting, the essential step 0 to really help goal setting work, and then we'll tackle 2 of my recommended best goal setting strategies. So why set goals? I'm guessing that if you're watching this video, you already have a pretty good idea as to why setting goals is important. But for anyone wondering, and also for those of us already on board, here are a couple of quotes that drive home the point of why goal setting is important. Let's check out this quote by Benjamin Franklin. By failing to prepare, you are preparing to fail. Now that fail word can make this quote seem harsh, but let's look past that for a minute here. If you want to achieve big things or even little things in your life, how is that going to happen? Haphazardly? No. Or at least not well, and definitely not effectively. No, the way we achieve things in life is by having intentional goals, goals that we map out. So at a basic level, that's why we set goals, to give ourselves the best chance to actually achieve our desires. Okay, next quote. A goal without a plan is just a wish. That was said by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. I like this quote for further solidifying why we should plan goals because it's so simple and so true. We can and should totally have wishes and dreams. And if we want those wishes and dreams to be fulfilled, we turn them into goals with plans. This is how we actually bring things to fruition in our lives. Okay, I think we're set with enough inspiration for the why, so let's move on to the basic types of goals. So our 4 basic types of goals are 1. New Year's resolutions, 2. Focus words, 3. Time frame goals, and 4. Habit goals. Let's define each of these, and I'll tell you if this is an Alicia-approved goal type or not. Okay, so New Year's resolutions. This one is a little cringy for me. I do like the time of the new year for the promise of a fresh start. There is something to be said for that. However, I also personally believe that any day, any time is a good time for a fresh start. It doesn't have to be January 1st. So this all being said though, while I like the fresh start aspect of the new year, I don't like the resolution part of it, at least in the way that it's traditionally done. I know when I've set New Year's resolutions, and I feel like this applies to other people too, they're kind of just this wishful thinking thing you mutter into existence because it seems like the culturally appropriate thing to do. However, I just don't see how these really help us. I know common New Year's resolutions are things like to lose weight or to eat healthier or to save more money or to pick up a new hobby or to accomplish some sort of project. And these are all well and good, but New Year's resolutions aren't the best place to take these on, in my opinion, because I find that when people make these sorts of resolutions, they're made without any kind of plan to back it up. And can you guess how I feel about that, about not having a plan? So, as you probably figured out by now, this is not an Alicia-approved goal-setting type. I just don't think that this is the best way to go about it. Now, if you are the kind of person who sets a New Year's resolution and you actually achieve what you set out to do, then go you. And if that works for you, please keep doing what works. However, in my own experience and just what I have seen in our culture is that this is not typically what happens. People set New Year's resolutions with high hopes and good intentions, and then the resolutions just fizzle out. There are even numerous studies that have been done on this topic, and the success rate of people keeping their New Year's resolutions, it's not good. Okay, the next goal type, focus words. I almost didn't include this one because it's not really a goal, but at the same time, it kind of is. Do you know about focus words? Some people at the beginning of a new year will pick a word to focus on for the next year. Maybe it's a word to encourage them, inspire them, drive them, whatever it is that the person feels he or she needs. That person picks a word and then intentionally lives in the next year in that spirit of that word. So focus words could include words like rest, integrity, savor, passion, resilience, really any word that speaks to a person for what he or she wants in life. I think focus words sound so lovely on paper. However, there are some things I don't like about them. First thing that I don't really like about focus words is that when I hear people talk about focus words, I don't also hear people talk about concrete steps for bringing that focus word to life in their lives. Now, maybe I'm doing it wrong, or maybe focus words just aren't a particularly good fit for me. But whenever I've picked a focus word for the year in the past, I picked a word, it sounds all warm and fuzzy and exciting, and then similar to a New Year's resolution, it just fizzles. Maybe all this means is that if I were to pick a focus word, that I would need to write some very specific tangible goals that produce the focus word in my life. I don't know. Another thing I don't like about focus words all that much is that they are a really long game, a whole year. So, you know me, I love intentionality. So how are you going to intentionally pursue this word all year long? And maybe the point with focus words isn't to be specific and measured. Maybe I'm applying goal setting to something that's just not the right fit. I don't know. So while I appreciate focus words and know that many people enjoy using them, this is not an Alicia approved goal setting type. But if focus words are your thing, please definitely keep doing them. Okay, we'll continue with our topic in just a moment. But before we get back to it, if you haven't already, would you please hit that subscribe button? As I like to say, you subscribing is kind of like the gasoline for my channel. It keeps things running around here. So please help keep this puppy running and subscribe. Okay, back to it. So our next goal setting type is time frame goals. These are goals that we set with the intention of completing them in a certain amount of time, maybe within a quarter or a month or a certain number of weeks. So for example, a goal to reorganize your garage this month, or a goal to reconnect and socialize with 3 friends in the next 6 weeks. I think time frame goals work well when implemented well. And we'll get to my ideas for you on how to do that when we get to the strategies part of this video. But as you can probably guess, time frame goals are an Alicia approved goal setting type. And our last goal setting type, habit goals. Habit goals are interesting. And I say that because they don't have an end necessarily. If it's a habit, then it's something that you want to incorporate ongoingly in your life, most likely. So this type of goal is complete, really, when it's become a habit and it's become second nature. You can complete the habit without extra effort or thought. The habit still takes effort, but it's sort of an autopilot kind of effort. Habit goals are also an Alicia approved type of goal setting, but again, we just need to make sure that we approach them strategically, which we'll get to with my tips for you. Okay, our next area to cover in this video is the step 0 of goal setting. In my opinion, and in my method of intentional planning and productivity, you can set the best goals in the world or make the most finely crafted plans, but without the essential step 0, I really feel like you'll just be spinning your wheels. So this essential step 0 is just getting crystal clear on your current personal life season. If you want to be able to set goals and set them well, then spend some time intentionally and thoroughly and strategically reflecting on your current season, like back to school season plus soccer tournament season, or pregnant while taking care of a toddler season, or busy season at work plus holiday season. There are almost infinite seasons because they're really unique to each individual person. I created a 2-hour on-demand workshop to walk you through getting this season clarity. It's called the Sync Your Season Workshop. I've linked it for you in the description below to go check out. But again, in my own journey of what works when it comes to goal setting, planning, productivity, etc., the way to be effective and to ditch things like overwhelm is to first get really clear on our season. So with my Alicia approved goal types of timeframe goals and habit goals, and with keeping in mind the importance of step 0, let's take a look at 2 of my 8 best goal setting strategies that I have for you in this video. The first one is to get intentional about it. Of course, right? You know how much I love intentionality. So naturally, intentionality applies to goal setting in my book. There are really just 3 things that I feel are important to keep in mind when being intentional about goal setting. The first is to actually take the time to plan your goals. Don't just think about them in passing. Actually sit down and think about what it is you can take on and what it is you want to accomplish. The next thing is to write those goals down. I know there are many studies out there about the positive outcome held in the power of writing things down, so let's incorporate that in our intentional goal setting. And finally, and this one is really important in intentionality, regularly checking in on your goals, at least quarterly, to evaluate, do these goals still make sense? Is there anything about these goals that need to change? This is another reason why I don't really like New Year's resolutions and why I'm only so about focus words. It's really hard to pick goals for an entire year. So much will happen. Circumstances will change. You will change. People around you will change. So honestly, I think it's valuable to have an idea of goals you'd like to accomplish over the course of the year, maybe 8 to 12 goals. But then you're only working on 3 at a time each quarter, or you have 12 goals, but you only work on 1 each month. This way, there's room for the dynamic way our lives are. There's room for evaluation and reevaluation and for tweaking. I feel that goals need to be flexibly firm, which I know is a contradiction, but that's intentional on my part in what I'm saying here. Goals are best achieved when they are set firmly, but they are also best achieved when they are approached with realistic flexibility. So regular check-ins are a must as a part of intentional goal setting to just make sure that we are pursuing what is best for ourselves in any given time frame and that we are being mindful about having goals that are focused on what matters most to us. And my second strategy for us today is picking a reasonable number of goals. Now, I can't really tell you what that is. It's so personal and individual. Let's take the example of quarterly goals. Maybe you can do 1 goal each quarter, or maybe you can do 5. I don't know. This is where that step 0 of season clarity really comes in. What you can realistically and sanely take on at any given time is going to be dependent on your season. Maybe you have chronic health issues, or maybe you have a newborn and a preschooler. So maybe 1 goal per quarter, or maybe at the most 1 time frame goal and 1 habit goal. But there is absolutely no shame in taking on a small number of goals and doing them well and doing them sanely and actually accomplishing them in a way that honors you and your current season. On the other end of the spectrum, for this example, maybe you can handle 5 goals in a quarter because your kids are older and or you're in good health and or your job allows you to have the time to take on this many goals. It just depends really on your season. Also, let me just say that I threw out 5 as a number that I feel is kind of extreme. I don't really recommend taking on 5 goals all at once. I was just pushing it for the sake of the example. But again, if we're approaching goal setting quarterly, maybe 1 to 3 goals would be good. Or if it's monthly, then 1 goal per month or 1 goal every other month. Like I said, it's really so personal and individual based on the whole picture of your life at the particular time that you're looking to set the goals. Okay, so before we go, I just wanted to tell you again that the link for my Sync Your Season workshop is in the description below. Again, it's that step 0 to really being able to take your goal setting or your planning, your peace, or just your life in general to the next level. Go check it out and see what you think. As always, thanks so much for spending this time with me. That wraps up part 1 for today. Be on the lookout for part 2 coming your way very soon. And my parting encouragement, as always, if you're feeling overwhelmed today, remember that when it comes to planning and productivity, being intentional, plus not giving up means you're going to get there. All right. Catch you next time. Take good care.